What's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Now listen, I know this is a disclaimer. Let me go ahead and get my disclaimer early, man. This is probably gonna piss me off. This video is probably gonna piss me off because I don't like the title. I don't even like the feel that I'm getting from it. 3 scary true Chuck E. Cheese stories. So Chuck E. Cheese automatically makes you associate that with what? Children. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like, you know me. If you've been around, you've been a part of the family, you know, man, I don't like people preying on children. I don't like people trying to take advantage of children. You know what I mean? It's just not right, and it'll never be right. You know what I mean? So I'm preparing myself for this video. And you just gotta be careful, bro. Even this is where crazy people like to lurk. Places like that, Chuck E. Cheese's, the arcades and the bowling alleys and stuff like that, because they know that's where children frequent. And a lot of the times the parents just let the kids run wild in there, so it's nothing for them to walk up, snatch a child, because there's so many people in there, and to kind of break out and get away with it. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, but it's so true. So let these videos be the eye-opening lessons they need to be for you to pay more attention and be more alert and aware. All right? If you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button and give your boy a like, man. Let's get the likes up to about 3,000 likes. All right? Let's go.
Remember Chuck E. Cheese? That old arcade with the singing animatronics? Of course you do. I just found out they went bankrupt recently. It made me think back to my horrible experience there as a very little kid.
Is that true? Chuck E. Cheese, like, I got one like, what, 6 X's down from me? Or however many X's down from me? Dang, they went bankrupt. I remember as a kid, my bad. I remember as a kid, man, that just was going to Chuck E. Cheese was like going to like a great adventure. It was, you wanted, I hate to see that, bro. Dang.
I was no older than 8 or 9. It was like my 3rd and last time ever at a Chuck E. Cheese. This specific location closed down years ago, but it used to be basically down the street from our old house. My mom took my little brother and I, and she let us roam free and do our own thing and play the games, while she sat at one of the tables reading like most of the other parents. I was playing this clown game where you had to shoot the clown's teeth out with this little cannonball shooter. I was playing the games that would get me the most tickets for the prizes. I finished the game again, and the ticket shot out from the ticket slot. That's when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned and jumped in my seat. I was greeted with a giant Chuck E. Cheese mascot in my face. He held out his hand for a high five, and naturally I gave him his high five with a smile. He then pointed at the tickets and gave me a thumbs up. I think I just continued laughing and smiling and said, yeah. Then he pointed at the tickets once more and motioned for me to follow him. So I ripped the tickets from the slot and followed the giant mascot. As we walked across the main floor, a couple other kids around like 6 came up to him saying, "Hey Chucky," and he gave them both high fives. I kept following him, wondering if he'd tell the other kids to follow, but he didn't. He would turn back every few seconds to make sure I was still following. Finally, we made it across the main floor by the stage towards this back area, where he waved me to follow him through this employees-only door. From what I remember about how I was feeling, let's just say a combination of weird and excited. We entered this narrow hallway, and I felt kind of special for being allowed access back here. Keep in mind, I had the mind and maturity of a very young child. The mascot led me to this back room where he motioned for me to enter first, so I did. It was this small changing room type of room. It had a few lockers on one wall and one long bench extending half the length of the room. That was it. He entered the room and shut the door behind us, and I noticed he locked it. That's when I became confused and afraid. I thought he was taking me to get a bunch of free tickets. What could he possibly do in this empty room with me? He approached me, put his furry mascot hand on my shoulder, and then started rubbing from my shoulder to my arm. Then he seemed as though he tried to reach lower with both of his hands, and I pushed him off and yelled, "Stop." That's when the person in the suit lifted the mask off his head, revealing some sweaty, middle-aged man underneath. He started to remove the rest of the costume from himself as he told me to be quiet. I sat there watching, shaking, and plotting my way for the door. When I thought he was distracted enough by the suit, I tried to run past him for the door, but he grabbed me and told me to stop. He offered me all the free tickets I wanted if I just behaved. I started to yell and pound on the door. He tried to cover my mouth, but I think he gave up when he realized it wasn't worth the risk for him. I unlocked the door and ran back down the hall in tears. I ran back to my mom, yelling at her about what just happened. She was distraught and went right to the front desk. The girl at the front desk seemed to be in a panic as well, and I think she called for her supervisor. Pretty soon, all the music was stopped and the place was put into a lockdown of sorts, where all the kids were to go to their parents. A bunch of workers ran to the back section, and eventually police showed up outside. I had to give my whole story to a crowd of like 6 people, and I was extremely nervous. The man in the Chucky suit was some random creep who snuck into the back section of the building to—
Oh my gosh. I was about to be like, yo, we gotta monitor better who we hire at these places. We gotta do a better background check. This idiot, this lowlife, he sneaks in there with a Chuck E. Cheese suit on. Who does that? And how does he make it? Oh my gosh. Oh man. Bro, that could have went so much worse. He had the kid in the back room. Made it all the way to the back room without even raising an eyebrow from anybody else. Just like I said, the mom was chilling, letting her kids run and play. You know what I'm saying? Which we all have a tendency to do because you're thinking you're safe in that place and nothing like that will happen. And that's why they prey on places like that, because they know it's lax. People are lackadaisical. They're, you know what I'm saying, just calm and at ease and not really paying attention and alert. Come on, man. That could have been so much worse.
to dress in one of the suits and apparently lure children to the back. Realizing and looking back at that now as a grown adult is disturbing and disgusting, that I was the victim of a predator. I never found out if that monster was caught.
And you don't know what he looked like. He had the mask on, so I'm pretty sure he entered the building with the mask on so nobody could catch him on camera or what he looked like. That's...
I used to work for Chuck E. Cheese very briefly when I was 21 years old. I was one of the janitors / maintenance workers. I know, not very awe-inspiring. I was broke as hell and needed money. All my job really entailed was cleaning tables and keeping the play areas generally clean. Sounds easy, but there was never really a time to just sit and take a breath. There was always something to clean or take care of. I would also be in charge of turning on and off the animatronics, opening the stage curtains, fixing busted arcade machines, and things of that nature. My shifts would always be later, from like 4 to 10 p.m. My location closed at 8 on weekdays and 9 on weekends. I would stay an hour, sometimes 2 hours after, to get the place in top shape ready for the next day. So this one night, I was working past close like I usually did. Everyone had already left the building, including the other workers, so I was the last one in the building. I was dragging my cleaning cart around the arcade area. I had already turned off all the game machines. I was by that space-themed arcade machine where you had to press the button at the right moment to stop the light on the jackpot bulb. As I was passing by this machine...
I love and hate that game, by the way. That game will suck you in, bro. Straight up, you be sitting there and be, oh, I can get it, and I can get it. It seems easy, but it's not.
Machine. The space-themed music suddenly emits from the machine at a very loud volume, and all the lights start flashing again. I felt like my heart was in my throat. That's how much it startled me. I fiddled with my keys to access the control port of the machine to turn it off again. I'd never seen anything like that happen before. It suddenly just freaked me out, only because I was all alone in that big building pretty late at night. The weirdness didn't stop there, though. By this point in the night, I had already shut down the animatronics on the stage, so when I heard Chucky's pre-recorded laugh break the silence of the room,
I'm out.
heart started pounding again. The laugh was short and cut off. It almost sounded glitchy. I ditched my cleaning cart to go backstage and check on the animatronics, and I could see they were in their idle modes now, meaning they would move their limbs and heads around every so often. I would have to go to the control room to turn them off, but this was the second strange thing to happen that night. I started getting paranoid that someone else was in the building with me, but that thought was interrupted when I noticed that the Chucky animatronic was facing me, and its head angled down perfectly to look as though it was looking at me. It was bizarre. Bizarre that I was finding it that disturbing.
And it has the name Chucky. Did anybody else think about that? The name Chucky. It shouldn't have that name.
I'm not crazy, but for my own peace of mind, with my eyes on the Chucky animatronic, I walked past it, closer to the control room. I waited there for a few seconds, and then the animatronic spun 90 degrees to face me once more, perfectly. I swear it was once again looking right at me, and then the laughter emitted once again from the animatronic. But in a creepy, glitchy, cut-off manner, this time much louder, obviously because I was right next to it. I ran to the control room to hit the switch to turn everything off on the stage.
That animatronic would have died that day. It would have been dismembered that day. Oh, you're not finna laugh at me like that. Did y'all hear the laugh?
And then the laughter emitted once again from the animatronic. But in a
Pennywise would have died that day. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. Chucky Pennywise would have died that day.
creepy, glitchy, cut-off manner, this time much louder, obviously because I was right next to it. I ran to the control room to hit the switch to turn everything off on the stage once more. I left the control room, and the Chucky animatronic was still facing the direction it was moments before. I left the stage through the curtain and just felt uneasy. I was starting to think maybe it was all just getting to my head. But that's when I heard the horrible laugh again come from the stage behind the curtains. That was the last straw. I took my card, clocked out, and left. I texted my boss the next day that I had to leave early because I was feeling extremely sick. He said it wasn't a problem, but he never mentioned anything about—
Either you put me on first shift, or it's no go. Find somebody else to clean up behind these nasty people all day and deal with your electronics. No. Either put me on first shift, or you gotta find somebody else to do this job, bro. I'm not gonna be in here at night and the animatronics is turning, looking at me, creepy laughs and stuff like. Oh no, we not doing that. We not doing that.
About the animatronics being left on. And when I asked him if the animatronics had some kind of motion detecting feature to look at people, he said no, they didn't. I'm not the most superstitious guy, but I firmly believe I wasn't the only presence in that building that night. And I don't mean there was another person in there.
We not doing that. I just had to stress it again one more time for y'all. We not doing that. Nope. I quit. Send me my check.
This is a story from my childhood that I don't like to look back on too much. I was 13. My mom brought my two little sisters and I to Chuck E. Cheese one evening. My sisters are 4 and 6 years younger than me, so it was more for them, and my mom just wanted me to come along. My mom was playing games with my sisters, so I went to do my own thing. It was my only time ever at Chuck E. Cheese, so I was trying to play every game at least once. Eventually, a worker in a red polo shirt came up to me. He was in his lower to mid-20s, I'd say. He didn't seem that old. He asked me if I wanted some more tokens. I said, yeah, sure. He told me to follow him. He led me through this sketchy back door, which led to a back exit. I asked him where he was leading me. He said to his truck. He told me not to tell anyone, but that he had access to all the tokens he wanted and just kept piles of them in his car. I stopped following when I realized he was leading me to his car. I told him my mom would be mad. He tried to push that I follow him a little more, but gave up.
Educate your children on the signs of stuff like that, man. Educate them. You could tell his parents had taught him. He stopped and he was like, no, I'm not going to your truck. My mom's, no, you could tell. Like, educate your children, bro. It's imperative.
Before I walked back inside, he asked for my AIM username, and I gave it to him, always excited for new friends on AIM. For those of you who don't know, AIM was an instant messenger that was all the rage before smartphones and texting really became a thing. I don't remember his username. All I know, it was something with his name in it, which was Ben. I would sign on to AIM every single night, including that night after Chuck E. Cheese. I signed in, and I had a few friends online. Next thing I knew, I got a message from Ben, so I added him to my buddy list. He said, "Hey, it's Ben from earlier." I replied, "What's up?" and we started chatting. He chatted with me as if we were good friends already. I asked him how he was able to get all the tokens he wanted, and he said it's easy when you work there. He told me he was going to come to my house that night with a bunch of tokens. I told him, no, it's okay, and he told me, no, it's fine, you live really close to me anyway. I replied, how do you know where I live? And he said he followed my mom's van on our way home. I blocked his account immediately. I was beyond scared. I told my friends about it on AIM. Some of them said I should tell my parents or call the police, but I waited. Maybe he was bluffing. But no, he wasn't. I heard a truck pull up outside through my open window. I looked out the window and saw the black truck that Ben guy was leading me towards earlier. I saw him get out from the truck, and I know he spotted me because he started walking over to my window. I pulled the window in and locked it, and then shut the blind. By that point, he was already halfway to my window, and he was waving his arms at me. I ran to my mom to tell her. She didn't find it funny, thinking I was kidding at first.
We gotta stop waiting until it's too late, kids. He's already here now.
But I convinced her after she looked out the window and saw the black truck begin to speed down the road. My mom wanted me to show her the AIM conversation, but I couldn't, as I had deleted him off my buddy list and blocked him. My parents called the police, of course, but that was just for peace of mind. They couldn't do anything besides make a report. The next day, my mom called the Chuck E. Cheese and asked about a Ben. They said they had no Bens who worked there.
I was just gonna say that. I knew they were gonna say that. No records of no Ben ever working here.
There were also no employees matching that guy's description. The Chuck E. Cheese eventually handed the CCTV footage from the day before to the police department for an investigation, which turned up no results. My family never went to a Chuck E. Cheese ever again.
I knew they were gonna say that. Fam, you know how close that was? He was in the yard before the kid decided to tell their parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, whew, thank God. And anybody who has children can understand right now. You're like so thankful because we all go to these places, man, and we would never think that things like this would go down there. No. Be careful, man. Y'all be safe out there. Protect your children by any means and watch out for sickos like these three from these three scary stories, man. It's your boy L. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think, how y'all feel. Were y'all enraged like I was, pissed off like I am? Let me know. All right, leave your boy a like. Let's get up to 3,000 likes, man, and stick around and stay tuned to the next reaction. I'm out. Peace, y'all. Stay solid. Hey.